Well, hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. This is the program where we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed, standing in for your regular host, Hamza Idris. Now, leaders of the military junta in Niger Republic that took over power from ousted President Mohamed Bazoum have agreed to open dialogue with the leadership of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, with a view to resolving the political impasse in the country. Now, this followed the audience given to a top-ranking religious group of ulamas led by the national leader of Jamaatul Izalatul Bid'ah, Sheikh Abdullahi Balala, with the approval of ECOWAS as a bloc and Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The leader of the coup in Niger Republic, General Abdurrahmani Chiani, gave the nod to engage in diplomatic talks with ECOWAS, just as the military junta accused the regional body of failing to hear its own side of the story before imposing what they called inhuman sanctions that has put Nigerians on the edge. On the other side, the military junta also said it has gathered enough evidence to prosecute the deposed President Mohamed Bazoum over what it describes as high treason and undermining national security of the country at both national and international courts. Now, this is coming hours after the Niger coup plotters allowed the ousted president access to his medical doctors amidst allegations of holding him and his family in an unsuitable environment, which his physician denies, saying his client is in good spirit despite the house arrest. And back here in Nigeria, the chambers of the National Assembly have constituted all the relevant committees for effective legislation and oversight functions. Now, there are allegations, however, that even members of the opposition party have been given juicy committees, whatever that means. With this development, will they be able to check the excesses of the ruling party? And these are some of the issues that we'll be unpacking on the program today. And to help us unpack and navigate all these talking points, we're joined by Honorable Bashir Usman Goro. He is a House of Representative member representing Goronyo Gada Federal Constituency in Sokoto State. Honorable, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Good evening.
Thank you for having me.
Right. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment to get the conversation started. Join us again. Now, the political crisis in Niger is a conversation that has got the world talking, but most importantly, the one that has kept ECOWAS very busy over the past couple of weeks. So let's start on that particular note. Honorable, I would like to get your initial thoughts with how things have unfolded, because right when this whole conversation started, the situation in Niger unfolded. You went on recess. What is your reading of what is happening, especially coming from a constituency that is almost sharing a direct border with Niger Republic?
Well, first of all, let me take the advantage of the platform to, of course, condemn the action of the military junta in Niger Republic. It is uncalled for military to take such a wrong step by overthrowing a democratically elected president and the entire government. And of course, one thing more unfortunate is that up till now that we are speaking, nobody, even in Niger Republic, ECOWAS as a body, or Nigeria as a neighboring country, that have the technical how or reason of those military junta of taking this bold step. So it's quite unfortunate. Being me member representing the Goronyo Gada constituency, of course we share border with Niger Republic. My one of my local government, Gada local government, we shared border with Niger Republic. And fortunately and unfortunately for them, they should be able to know that they are living to survive with the help and the support of Nigerian by activities, economic and otherwise. So for them to take that step, we're expecting them to be very wise enough in making that very big decision. But however, how the scenario now continues, let me also take the advantage of the platform to appreciate the intervention of many prominent personnel across the country, specifically Nigeria, more especially the first intervention of former Emir of Kano, His Royal Highness Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, being the first person to discuss with the military juntas in the Niger Republic, followed up by the delegation of Islamic prominent scholars, led by the leader of Izalatul Bidya wa Iqamatus Sunnah, that is Sheikh Balala. So their intervention will restore hope on demand on all of us, northerners, people that share border with Niger Republic, border communities. Their intervention sincerely restore hope at the back of our mind that things are going to be positive in the course of their mediation.
What can you tell us about some of the information you're getting, first-hand information? I don't know whether you've visited your constituency recently, especially after the coup happened on July 26th, but what are the people on the ground telling you about, first of all, the border closure and the impact it is having on communities, especially on this side of the border?
The information is very vital, and you must believe with me that our economic activities, when you talk about a state that shared border with Niger Republic, our economic activities or market per se in around Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Katsina, Jigawa, Kano, Yobe and Maiduguri, those are the states that share border with the Niger Republic. So to say the truth, nothing but the truth, is that our market, 65% or rather 70% of our market, the state that shared border with Niger Republic, is absolutely a market from Niger Republic. So we cannot do without Niger Republic.
In terms of buying or in terms of selling? In
terms of buying, of course. Right. In terms of buying, because the greatest market that we are enjoying economically is a market taken over by Niger people. So they used to come into Sokoto, Katsina, Zamfara and buy a lot quite of numbers of goods and services that they are living for surviving. So our market, economically, our market was affected. We're seeing this as it's like a complete shortage of our own economic activities. Should this action of ECOWAS sustain or continue to thinking of use of force for the restoring of our constitutional order in Niger Republic? And when you talk on the security threat that we are receiving, more especially my own constituency, Gada Gwanapura constituency, by extension Gudu Tangaza constituency of Sokoto State, by extension Gwadawa Ilela constituency of Sokoto State, by extension Sabon Birni Isa constituency of Sokoto State, talking of the other constituents of the respective state that shared border with the Niger Republic. Security-wise, we are receiving security threat because all the criminals that are residing in Niger Republic now, they have descended down to Nigeria, knowing very well the government of Niger Republic now is a government of military administration, and they can, of course, intensify the use of force and military power to be clean them and without giving them any chance of operation in their own territorial boundary. Now they are drawing down to Nigeria and continue to terrorize our community, and that since the beginning of these coup matters, the rising of insecurity challenges, the killing, the kidnapping, the banditry activities is rising daily. No single night or blazing night that we are not going to receive a particular threat or the other. In my constituency specifically, one person must be killed or one person must be kidnapped.
All right. I mean, clearly we're dealing with shifting sands here as far as this conversation is concerned, because the developments keep changing and we're being bombarded with a lot of actions from within Niger, from outside of Niger. The international community is very much interested with regards to this particular development. Where we are right now, it does appear that there is a window where the conversation or the communication would be a much more direct one between ECOWAS as a regional bloc and the leadership of the military junta as a result of these interventions by non-state actors.
Exactly.
Do you think this is headed in the right direction, especially if you read into the body language of the coupists, who are now talking about prosecuting the man they ousted on July 26th, ousted President Mohamed Bazoum?
What we should be able to look into is, of course, the readiness of the military juntas, that they are ready to discuss and they have opened their dialogue table. So our advice here for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course by extension ECOWAS as a body, to please listen to those military juntas. Fundamentally, point to note here is that the coup has happened and the administration has set off. So any further action or activities of distancing Niger Republic from ECOWAS or separating Niger Republic from ECOWAS or taking a forced action or the other will not yield any positive result. Now that they wanted to start dialogue, okay, let them listen to them, hear out their own side of discussion. Then what is the solution? So for so long the ECOWAS thing they have were so powerful, and then we come further with the use of force. Then I don't think any that will yield any positive result.
At this moment in time, are you saying that some of these threats should be taken off the table? Because there are no guarantees about where this is going to go, whether the military junta is going to concede some ground or compromise on some of the things that they have said in the past, or whether ECOWAS...
When we talk on dialogue, of course, you must agree with this, I must agree with that. You must disagree with this.
Where is the common ground in your view for agreement?
The common ground, of course, is that listening to military juntas. What do they want to tell the ECOWAS, or what do they want to tell Nigeria? Now that they have made a claim that they have took over because the danger is for both Nigeria and Niger. Now listen to them. What is the reason? What the point do they have on ground? Is it valid enough? You understand? So we cannot just rush and continue doing things in a hurry, because this matter has happened, as I said. So now the way out is what we are looking for. Are
you saying, Honorable, that ECOWAS should be open-minded about some of the demands as well as the position of the military junta?
It's not about demand. I nobody knowing whether they have any demand or anything. Now listen to them. Okay, what are your reasons? You understand? Since that they are ready for dialogue, and when President, you agree, and the ECOWAS by extension, you send our ulamas, our Islamic scholars, you send them to Niger Republic to discuss with this gentleman. So they have discussed with them, and they agree that they are ready for dialogue. Now the next step is to listen to them.
Yeah. Are you saying, Honorable, as far as reinstating Bazoum is concerned, it should be negotiable? Because it looks like from the body language of ECOWAS that reinstating Bazoum is first on their to-do list. But, in terms of what they want to happen in Niger Republic.
That is not the point now. Everybody knows that military administration has already set up an administration. They have formed a prime minister, ministers, and they set off different
illegitimately.
Whether legitimately or illegitimately, it does happen in Africa and in African countries. Could do happen, and activities continue. So now the issues is to listen to them. The coup has happened already, and retrieving it back is another war. And all our call is that we don't want to venture into an activities that we don't know the end of it. It happens now. Russia for more than 1 year in war with Ukraine. And it happens now, Sudan in crisis. Saudi Arabia with Yemen. Who's know between you and I, who's know when the war will end? Nobody.
So it's safe to say,
take the resources that we have to go and start fighting Niger Republic.
It's safe to say that as far as military intervention is concerned, you're not on board with the idea of a military intervention. You don't even want it to be considered.
Issues of a military intervention or non-military intervention, what we are after is have a dialogue table. Sit down with these people. Without sitting down with them, there is no way forward. Sit down with them and discuss with them. Tell them what you want and hear out from them. You cannot ask me from PA that I should take you to Kano when I don't even know who is instructing me or giving me a command. But okay, you want me to take you to Kano? Okay, come. I'm taking you to Kaduna. You go to Kano by yourself. That's the point of dialogue and negotiation.
Talking about the sanctions, you just talked about how a part of your constituency, to a larger extent, all the states that share a common border with Niger are affected by economically, by the shutdown and closure of the border, and also as far as security is concerned, that in itself has opened up new risks for the activities of bandits and terrorists that have already been in operation along those axes for quite some time now. How do you see this stalemate being resolved, especially now that we understand that the dialogue would be there, would be a part of what would de-escalate this already high tension type of situation? What are your expectations with regards to how soon this dialogue could lead to some sort of solution?
But even if we did not say anything here, we can make a call, we can make on our field. That the fact that there is intervention of Islamic scholars and they are respected in both Nigeria and Niger Republic. So if they have discussion with the leaders of Niger Republic and they have discussion with the president of Nigeria, then there should be a common ground where president should see reason of at least lifting ban on the border closure. Let the economic activities continue. There is no way where we can continue to furnish our own sons and daughters. Niger Republic rely heavily to survive on Nigeria. Okay, the fact that they agreed to talk with us, let us initiate the discussion and let the president see reason to lift on the ban of the border closure so that the economic activities can continue. And by extension, again, the cutoff of electricity supply to Niger Republic, that is on agreement between Niger and Nigeria. President has power to cut the electricity and president has power to do everything under his authority provided by the constitution. So at least it's a generosity from Nigeria to Niger. Let them not to start seeing as if we are taking them square zero.
Right. And is this your opinion as member representing Goronyo Gada federal constituency, or is this the opinion of your people?
I'm speaking on behalf of my people. I'm representing people. I told you
your
all
people,
our activities. When you go to Gada now, no business is going. When you go to Ilela by the border, you see more than 500 trucks standing. No movement because no crossing, no entering, no exit. So it's the entire activities. And the same way when you go to Jibia, the same way when you go to Jigawa, the same way when you go to Kamba Kebi, the same way every borders that shares with the Niger Republic, trucks, Dangote trucks, Boa trucks, normal trucks that are carrying food stuff and all of that are stopped there. No movement of economic activities between Niger and Nigeria.
I know your constituency doesn't cover Niger Republic, but I mean, by extension, if because you did talk about what you expect from ECOWAS, what you expect from the Nigerian president vis-a-vis the current situation. As far as the junta is concerned, they are talking a lot of, tough talk about prosecuting Bazoum. Even at some point, we understand that while in conversation with a U.S. diplomat, they did threaten that they might even consider eliminating the ousted president just to make a point to ECOWAS and the rest of the world who are hell-bent on reinstating him back into power. What would you like them to reconsider now that we know that they're trying to prosecute him for high treason among other charges for some which appears to be trumped-up charges just to give a dog a bad name so that you can hang it?
That is on internal affairs. It's affairs of Niger Republic, and you can believe with me, even in Nigeria, you can have a section of constitution that will define one to be guilty and one not to be guilty. You understand? So that is the internal affairs of Niger Republic. Military juntas, of course, is their country. They are part of Niger Republic. They are citizens of Niger Republic, so they can decide it of what is offense and what is not offense, and they are guided by their constitution. If at all, me and you, we don't know what Bazoum has done that is wrong until and unless they make it known to the public, isn't it? So the fact that we don't know what he has done that is wrong, that warrant them to prosecute him or prosecute his government, so we cannot make a comment or pass a comment on it.
A lot of people would say, Honorable, that's very surprising coming from someone who is riding on the mandate of the people. I mean, you are in the House of Representatives right now because you have the electoral votes. You also have the constitutional mandate to represent your people. Yeah. That is the exact same thing that President Bazoum had up until July 26th before he was taken out. What I want to
tell you, hold on before descending to that question, what I want to let you understand is that is the internal affairs of Niger Republic. I first of all condemn the activities of
which is part of ECOWAS, so it's also the business of ECOWAS.
Yeah, it's business of ECOWAS, right. You understand, but we did not design the constitution of Niger Republic the same way they did not design the constitution of Nigeria. So I can only make a comment on what relevant on the constitution of Nigeria that I know this is part of the law and you have violated the provision of the law, then they are liable to sow this and that. You understand? So as far as it is concerned now, I know that, of course, totally, I'm part of the democratic setting of Nigeria. I was elected through democratic process. I'm a member representing a particular constituency, but I cannot talk adequately and compatibly with what is happening in Niger.
Yeah, but democracy, Honorable,
now
as you know, democracy or constitutional government.
Because
you didn't allow me to line, and that's where.
No, I'm descending.
The question is that okay, there is a democratically elected government, and I think it's universal when it comes to democracy. You get to power through the ballot.
Yeah.
And that is the legitimacy around it all.
Exactly.
So what is special about Niger that you don't want us to consider the democratic question about him being in office because of the mandate of the people?
You know, as a president, when you're in the office, you have the power to execute whatever you want to execute in line with the constitution guidelines and and procedure that you have in your own state or in your own country. But now I'm coming to talk about military juntas prosecuting Bazoum or what have you. I want to bring your mind here that military juntas will try to bring something on table that ECOWAS, in the course of negotiation, at the end of the day, ECOWAS will beg them to please don't prosecute Bazoum, release Bazoum. So it is no longer issues of reinstating Bazoum, which is going to turn over on the issues of release Bazoum. You understand? So they wanted to have something as bargaining power on the table, so that they will not just come on the ECOWAS discussions that this and that and blah, blah, you know. But what are the weapons that they are holding? So now that they wanted to prosecute Bazoum, on what basis? Then ECOWAS will now to mediate and intervene that don't prosecute this gentleman because he has no offense that you are going to prosecute on him.
The House is in recess. The National Assembly entirely is on recess right now. What is the conversation like with some of your colleagues, especially with regards to the potentiality of troops on the ground? Because ECOWAS did put the military chain of command within ECOWAS itself. That standby force has been activated. What are you reading from some of your colleagues about where they stand on the possibility of Nigerian soldiers being involved in a possible military intervention in Niger Republic?
You know, the position of the Constitution is very clear. Section 5 of Section 4A and B is very clear that President cannot deploy Nigerian armed forces without the sectional approval of the two houses. That is House of Representatives and the Senate. And of course, even if the President decided to sit under Section 5, subsection 5 again, that granted the President an opportunity on absolute power in consultation with the Defense Council, that President, if a country is facing a threat, that President can consult with Defense Council and move ahead and deploy armed forces, even without the approval of the National Assembly. So what we are seeing now is that it's issues of ECOWAS, not issue of Nigeria. But vis-a-vis, we cannot talk of ECOWAS without talking Nigeria, and we cannot talk Nigeria without talking about ECOWAS. So we are seeing it's a war of Nigeria and Niger, not war of ECOWAS and Niger. So in whatever the case and in whatever scenario, the position of the Constitution for us as the lawmakers and the legislative arms of government, our right and the right of the legislator of guaranteeing the President approval to deploy armed forces for whatever reason or combat mission was being matched. Yeah.
Well, nothing has happened yet. As far as military intervention is concerned, the boots are not yet on the ground, even though that standby force has been activated, and Nigeria's commitment to the ECOWAS treaty is there alongside many other African states within the regional bloc.
Exactly.
However, we had the input of the African Union that weighed in. Even the ECOWAS Parliament did not appear to be happy about the possibility or the move of the heads of states and government about
activating. The truth of the matter is that each and every state, they have their own problem or in one way or the other. Now in Nigeria, we have 6 geopolitical zones. In 6 geopolitical zones, only one zone that has not that doesn't have one terrorist group. When you talk of the southeast,
or military operations,
when you talk on the southeast, they have their own Biafran forces. When you talk on the south, they have the Niger Delta militant forces. When you talk on the northeast, still 14 years now, Nigerian are battling with the Boko Haram. When you talk on the northwest and the north central, of course, for the first 10 years now, is a battle of unended battle with the bandit and banditry activities. So where are we going? When in Sokoto, in Katsina, in Zamfara, people are not sleeping and you are taking troops to another country for waiting.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That's a very important question, one that has been re-echoed over and over again by a lot of people from different sides of the aisle. But I also want to get your 2 cents on this trend, which has become rather disturbing. Whether you're talking about Guinea, whether you're talking about Burkina Faso, whether you're talking about Mali and now Niger. The concern is that this is now a phenomenon. There is a growing trend. Over the past 3 years alone, we've had 6 coup attempts. 3 of them successful, including the one in Niger right now. Give me a sense whether you worry about this trend engulfing the entire region itself.
Yeah, of course, it's very bad. And it's something that Africa and West Africa should wake up and see where the problem is likely coming from, because it's something that was constructed and redesigned, and it is happening now. So it's now a wake-up call for West Africa and the entire African countries to see where the problem is may likely coming from. But of course, me, from my own perspective, it's nothing but the battle of power and positioning by the Western countries. We talk of France, you talk on the United States of America, you talk on the China, you talk on the Russia. So it's a battle of power and positioning by the powerful countries of Europe. And of course, everybody knows that the African countries were blessed by abundant mineral resources, and those Western world rely on those mineral resources to survive in different productivity and product they are producing across the globe. So for me, it's something that Africans should put head together and see who are those powerful countries that are causing conflict and confusion within the African continent.
That is surely one of the layers as far as this conversation is concerned, that Western exploitation, especially in former French colonies, where the arrangement is one that keeps many of these countries, if not all of these countries, impoverished and underdeveloped. We've been in conversation with Honorable Bashir Usman, a member of the House of Representatives. We'll take a quick break. Daily Politics returns in just a moment. There's a lot more we are going to unpack, looking at some of the politics within the National Assembly vis-a-vis the economic situation in the country, especially as Nigerians continue to groan over the consequences and the attendant effects of the removal of fuel subsidy. We'll talk all about the palliatives and a lot more. Join us after the break. Welcome back to the program. You're watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. And of course, in case you just joined us, thank you very much for making the time. Feel free to follow us across our social media platforms to stay in touch with the program as usual across Facebook, YouTube, and all the other platforms so you can catch up in case you missed out on any of our shows. We have been talking about a great deal of issues around the developments in Niger, how it affects Nigeria, the interests at stake, and also what those fault lines are. And we're also trying to navigate a variety of issues around what is happening here at home. We've been in conversation with the House of Representative member representing Goronyo Gada Federal Constituency in Sokoto State, Honorable Bashir Usman Goro, who has been giving us insights and analysis on some of these developments and issues. Let's talk about the House of Representatives. Since inception, there's been a lot of very interesting developments. We've had some ad hoc committee do some great work already that is turning heads across the country, but also the standing committees have been put together. Give me your reading as a member of the PDP in the APC-run House. What do you make of the formation of the standing committees vis-a-vis how it represents the interests of all the political parties within the House?
Well, it is fair enough, and you know, for us, the members of the 10th House of Representatives, we don't have the problem of a division. If you trace back before our election, President and the members of the APC were able to come together, put together the candidate, and you know, reconcile the differences and close rank. And for us, we all vote in one line, and that's give each and every one of us equal opportunities that, of course, you have voted for speaker, and there is no division or sentimentism around the politics or internal politics of the 10th House of Representatives. And of course, in terms of position and committee sharing, is an agreement between the APC and the PDP. Of course, it is tradition. Normally, PDP is taking 50-50 members of opposition. I mean, not only PDP members of opposition are taking 50-50, 50 chairman, 50 deputies, and that's an agreement. Of
just PDP, because there's also a considerable number of okay, the opposition, the minority caucus, right? Generally,
members of the minority caucuses. So it is a 50-50 sharing formula, and for the APC are taking the greater shares. So that agreement was maintained mutually, and that's how it went. Yeah.
What do you make of people who comment and say it looks like the APC has found a way to silence dissent within the House itself, so much so that whatever happens, because these positions, the juicy positions, quote unquote, have been given to some of the members of the minority caucus, so you're not going to raise your voice even when there's something to raise your voice about.
In fact, in the National Assembly, there is no committee called Juicy Committee. All committees.
Yeah, but I know you understand what I'm trying to say about it.
I understand. All committees are committees, so there is no.
But not all committees are equal in terms of the gravity of the work.
By standing rule and the guidelines of the House, all committees are committees of the National Assembly. So our works are the same, and our guidelines and our procedure, all of the procedure are the same. So issues of juicy or unjuicy, that one is left to the people that are looking for money. But if you are there to work for Nigerian and for Nigerians, then there is no issues of juicy committee or all of that. And for us, the members of the minority caucuses are thinking whether we have gotten committees or something that we cannot talk about government or governance. I'm a deputy chairman of a very big committee, but I'm talking about governance.
You just said very big committee.
Policy. Yeah, of
and
course.
I thought you said all committees are the same.
To put you on that, of course, you know, to make you that reference, right. You know, I'm a deputy chairman of a committee, so and that do not to stop me by taking part and position in telling government the truth. You know, I'm a representative of the people. I go through the ballot box to be where I am, so I have to tell people the truth. And objecting government policy where necessary is, of course, our duty. And checkmating government properly, the expenditure and all of that, of course, is our duty. So you cannot, you will not expect us to, you know, deviate from our course 2-3 duty, that is making law and proper check and balance the activities of the executive.
You talk about speaking truth to power, and that is all commendable, but Nigerians get the feeling that we're living in two realities. The leaders live in a different Nigeria where everything is provided for them. They don't lack anything. They live ostentatiously. Just this past week, I believe the Senate President made an off-the-cuff comment that got Nigerians talking about a token to enjoy their holiday. And I'd like to ask you if, before going on recess, whether members of the House of Representatives also got a token to enjoy your holiday.
Well, I used to answer this question. I answered this question even at the AIT, and I want to pass this comment again. As for us, the members of the 10th House of Representatives, we are on recess, and I don't think anybody received any copy. And the benefits that we receive is very often, and our bankers are members of the public. Yet? Or of course, my entitlement, my allowances legally, I receive. Right. Of course, my furniture allowances legally, I'm elected officer. I'm entitled of the furniture allowances I receive. You understand? So If you talk about the whole day allowances or token, I know nothing about it, and I don't think any member of House of Representatives know anything about it, because nobody receive. If we receive, our bankers are of course members of the public. You can engage, embark often on the investigative journalists. You can find it out.
Yeah. Okay. Another part of that question is about the two realities that I talk about. There is a rich Nigeria that is for the elite, where no matter how tough things get, there's always a provision to take care of their needs and their wants. And that's what we usually see happen. And then there's the real Nigeria, with hundreds of millions of people having to deal with the impact and the effects of subsidy removal. And there isn't a lot of consideration going that particular way. I mean, there's a lot of promise with regards to the palliative scheme at federal and at state level. But it is fair to say that for the most part, Nigerians haven't seen anything significant that would cushion the effect of the subsidy removal, which, by the way, started on May 29th, and we're in August at this point in time. Give me your reading of whether, as a political leader yourself, as a representative of the people, you feel that the people in this country have gotten the kind of representation that will reflect their wants and needs, and that will also cater for them, especially in this very difficult moment.
Well, for us, members of the National Assembly, what people are expecting from all of us, of course, is to, I will repeat myself, of course, to make law for them, policies that are very good for the country, and of course to properly check and balance the activities of the executive. And where necessary, of course, people are expecting us to lay our voices on the issues that are concern their welfare and the well-being, and of course the security and the security of food and the life and properties of Nigerian. To make this point comment, I don't think the situation we are now, and I'm a member of opposition, I don't think the situation we are now, there is a class of bourgeoisie that can actually say we are happy or we live happily. I don't think
Do you think your situation and the situation of an average Nigerian is the same, Honorable?
I, an average Nigerian, are we not all human beings?
No, that's not the question. But that's not the question. I said situation around.
Of course, it's the situation.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you must to.
So your answer is yes. You're feeling the same thing.
Let me take you to the point so that you give yourself answer. Whether you like it.
I would love for you to give me the answer. And I would love for it to be direct.
Whether you like it or not, you must to travel, isn't it? You must to pass through the difficulties and the expensive fuel price, isn't it? And whether you like it or not, you must to buy foodstuff, and then you must experience a higher hike price in the foodstuff, isn't it? So depending on the level and the position you are, you must eat, you must survive. Then the situation and the condition is almost similar and the same.
Okay, almost.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people will say that is not a fair description of how bad things are. I mean, you must have had hundreds, if not thousands, of calls from your constituents who are telling you how difficult.
More than 40,000 people voted for me.
Right.
And you sitting individually, only your wife and your junior brother or senior brother maybe perhaps may call you for a help. And
I don't want to get into that. I think it's a lot more than that.
I have been receiving call and been receiving call for across that 40,000 people trying to get on access to life.
I asked that question.
So the voting is.
I made that point to ask the question.
It's the same as you said.
Yeah, I asked that. I made that point to ask this question. Do you think your constituents, whether it's at the federal or at state level, have received anything significant enough to pacify them or to cushion the effect of subsidy removal vis-a-vis the obvious difficult economic situation that this country is in?
That's why we say that is the role of the executive arms of government. They came to us, they present the budget, we appropriated the budget to them, even though it's a supplementary budget, for them to go and
I mean, you voted on the 500 billion naira that the president wanted, isn't it?
No, when he sent in the request. 500. It's not part of the 500. We have appropriated 800 and something billion naira for president, and the part of the money, that is the money he described 500 billion as the palliative for 12 million people. So it's not our own duty to share the money. Our own is just to appropriate. Yeah, and it's the executive arms of government that are going into the detail and nitty-gritty to identify the beneficiaries and who is going to benefit.
Are you saying that you look at the agitations of the organized labor that staged a protest at the beginning of this month to register their displeasure about how the federal government is handling? And by the way, when we talk about government, we're also talking about all the especially the two main arms of government, the executive and the legislature, because that is where the organized labor headed to register the displeasure. And I think that by some luck, the House of Representatives was not available to attend to them. Yeah. But the mood of the country is one of dissatisfaction, and I know that you know that people are not happy with government.
Everybody, including myself.
Well, I don't think it's fair to put you in the equation, because you are on the other side of it. You are on the other side of it. You are on the side of doing something about it. But I must have the same process
of life to eat, to survive, and to travel.
Yeah, but you're not a regular person who is waiting for something to be done. You're part of the people who do something about. I mean, you're a lawmaker. You're
of course
a deputy chairman of a committee that is big, as you said.
Being a lawmaker, will that stop you from eating? Will that stop you from traveling? The answer is no.
I'm sure, Honorable, if you don't eat, it's because you're fasting or you don't want to eat, not because you're struggling to eat. Let's be honest.
You know, sometimes circumstances, thinking of your people may also, deny you from eating, even if the food is in your present.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a different situation, because for most Nigerians, they can't see the food, talk about having problem eating it. But the point I'm trying to make here is, and I think it's only fair that I press on this, is to say that, are you satisfied with what you've done so far? Because from what you're saying, you seem to be saying that as lawmakers, you've done your best, and that is the only thing that you can do.
Absolutely, we have done our best. We appropriated money for the president. It's now in the executive arms of government, in collaboration with the respective state governors, to see how they can take down the palliatives to the Nigerians. Nigerians are waiting for those palliative. Please tell them, you are a media, tell them that kindly release the money down to the public for them to start enjoying the palliatives.
And as far as you're concerned, you don't see anything else as a lawmaker that you or your colleagues can do.
We have appropriated
to facilitate the distribution of these palliatives?
Time will come. We have appropriated the budget. Only if they fail to release the money, that is why we are going to come for proper check and balance, which is a part of our own statutory duty. We now come back to the money we have appropriated. It's on act, because everything that we pass through the National Assembly, more especially budget or budgetary process, is on act. It's a law of the land. President cannot violate the law of the land. Any member of the executive cannot violate the law of the land, because the punishment of that is 10 years in prison, in Kuje or Kirikiri or any other prison you think you can go. You
talk about the 40,000 plus people that voted for you. And I'm very sure you're well aware of how hungry or how angry they are.
I'm always together with them.
I don't think it's fair that you're putting yourself in their shoes, because, to be fair, you're a lot more fortunate, you're a lot more privileged than most of them. Do you think that you've done everything that you can?
If I did not put myself in the same shoes they are, I cannot adequately and properly understand.
No, I'm saying you can imagine what they're going through, but you're not going through what they are going through. It is one thing to imagine someone's pain. It is another thing to actually experience
somehow, partially.
Okay, so partially. Do you think that if your constituents ask you today, Honorable Bashir, are you comfortable, are you confident with regards to everything that you've done to make sure that you've addressed our plight?
Everything I have done or everything that government is doing?
No, I'm talking about you as an individual.
I
right.
I know my people are satisfied with what I'm doing on their behalf.
Right.
So what government is doing is another thing entirely. If you ask that question...
And are you satisfied with what the government is doing?
Certainly no.
Right.
Certainly no.
And you can't do anything about it. Is that what you're saying?
Of course we can do. We're waiting for them. They are coming to our own table. They are coming to our own table. And we are very soon, by September, we're opening the house, the plenary session, the normal activities of the parliament.
That's another thing. A lot of people said, I mean, the National Assembly is not reading the room. There is no discernment. This is not the time to go on recess because of the urgency of the situation. The economy is doing poorly. We're facing the threat of regional instability with the Niger Republic. So let me get to the question. Let me get to the question that because of the urgency of the situation, we need all hands on deck. Nigerian lives are lost. Nigerian businesses are shutting down. People are losing their lives, their livelihood. People are losing their ability to provide for their families. Why are our lawmakers pretending as if everything is normal? Why are they going for recess for close to a month plus?
It has been a tradition of the National Assembly. I'm a new member. I don't know how the tradition used to come, but it is a tradition. It has been a tradition of the National Assembly. In every August, September, there is a recess that is middle at the end of the
So don't you think the situation we're in right right now is different?
I'm telling you, I'm narrating the situation, which is not me that make the law, which is not me that make that whole day to become tradition of the National Assembly. But now that I'm in the National Assembly, maybe I'm a citizen of objecting such a kind of recess that is very, very unnecessary to some extent when there is a pressing issue or issues on ground that need the urgent attention or public urgent matters of urgent public importance to be discussed and to continuously discussing. But however, what you are talking about, we are human beings. We need to work and we need to rest. So perhaps I think we were inaugurated, we start working, and then it is time to take a little break, a recess for everybody to at least resettle in Abuja. Some of us are in Sokoto, some in Kebbi, some in Kanu, and for us to properly resettle in Abuja and continuously working to the end of the tenure.
Okay, yeah. And it just to finally talk about the situation with regards to the House. Already we're seeing some very disturbing discoveries. Some of the investigations that have been so far conducted by ad hoc committees. One of them that stands out is the one investigating the execution of the IPPIS as a payment platform, and we understand the drama, the twists and turns with regards to what's happening with the Federal Character Commission. Give me your thoughts on if this is an example of what we can expect from the House of Representatives Committee, especially a committee that you are the deputy chair of, in terms of really conducting thorough investigations into the activities of the executive, whether it's ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as institutions of government, to make sure that you hold them to account in the interest of Nigerians. Well, because we've seen this before, these show trials, they happen, there's a lot of noise being made, and then everything goes under the carpet, and that's the end of the story.
Well, I can tell you the 10th Assembly is quite a little bit different, although I had been following the scenarios of the previous assemblies and the stories of the previous assembly. But I can tell you point blank that there is a lot of, patriotism, and there is a lot of patriotic individual that are ready to work for Nigerian. Of course, unlike the previous assembly, this assembly brought on board almost 240-something young people. So there must be changes. All of us we are desire to do something that our fellow young people will say, oh yeah, this is very good, and of course you people should keep it off. So that is the legacy that we want to leave behind our presence in the National Assembly. So I don't think only that committee that you see, and a lot of ad hoc committees are there doing their work. Even on ad hoc committee that I happen to be a member there on Abuja Kano Express Road. You won't believe it if you see the kind of investigation that we bring on board. So a lot of things. That is the work of legislator. It's part of our own statutory duty to properly check and balance the activities of the government. And every cover and naira we appropriated is our mandate to see how those cover and naira were spent on behalf of the Nigerian people.
You're assuring Nigerians that you can vouch for yourself and your colleagues that you're not going to lose your momentum when it comes to doing the right thing by Nigerians? By
the grace of God.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Just on a final note before you go, there's some Nigerians watching right now and say, listen, Honorable Bashir might be saying the right things, typical of a politician. He will tell you what you need to hear. However, in terms of delivering the dividends of democracy, the Tinubu administration is trying to deliver renewed hope. It is not something you as a PDP member identified with, but how in tune is the minority caucus, for instance, to work with this government to get the job done for Nigerians?
And when you're talking about Nigerian, it's not about Tinubu or President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's about Nigerians. So progress of this country is the cost of you and I. So not only President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So everybody must put his or her hands on decks to see how Nigeria will really move forward than where we are.
Okay. Let's leave it there for now. Honorable Bashir Usman, thank you so much for joining us on Daily Politics. Really appreciate you for your time and for the analysis, and we do hope to speak to you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah. And that is our show for today. Thank you most kindly for tuning in. We do appreciate you for your time and for your company. Join us again when we return live and exclusive, as always, on Trust TV. From myself, Abdullah Ahmed, and the rest of the team, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.